Welcome to another van conversion installment. We had a bit of a mixed bag this week, so some of our footage has audio.
Some doesn't.
And some of it's a bit crackly, so I've tried my best to minimise the crackly bits or cut them out, but we do apologise in advance if there are some crackles remaining. This week we're working on putting carpet on the van and we make a start on building the toilet. So enjoy! And a recap from last time. So here's our cooker housing. We've got the gas manifold down there, and I think some audio came back at this point. In there, and you can have a little cupboard for pans and trays and things. Now we just need to put some ply on the outside and fit the cooker. Hello and welcome to our channel. We're Jojo and Scott. We live in the Highlands of Scotland. In August last year, we took on a big challenge. We bought a bright yellow van ready to turn into a camper. It's been a much bigger job than we expected, from ripping out the filthy interior, scrubbing away at the grime, to finding some nasty surprises. It's been a hell of a ride, with loads of ups and downs. We'd love for you to join us on this journey, as we take a filthy ex-fleet vehicle, strip it back to the basics, and build up a tiny home on wheels. Thank you so much for watching. Today, the plan is we're going to try and carpet the walls in the back of the van. So this is around the bed area. The reason we've gone for carpet is it's very lightweight. The issue with carpet is, of course, sticking it in a nice smooth manner. So we may or may not regret this decision once we've put it up. So these are the issues we're going to be contending with where we've joined the insulation together with the expanding foam. We've got a real lumpy bumpy finish. So I'm not sure if we're going to want to put a thin layer of ply over that perhaps to smooth that out. Another issue is this cable here. What are we going to do with this? We might have to carpet in and under it. Be a pain. It's going to be a bumpy carpet, I think. We'll maybe just have to accept that, but we can try and get it as smooth as possible. So we've gone for quite a basic finish, just kind of vapor barrier. A lot of people seem to do a lovely job with ply all over the walls from the top to the bottom and get this lovely smooth finish, which would for sure be a lot nicer to carpet over than this. The question is, do we add weight to the van by adding ply? And so it's not just weight you're adding, you're losing space with each piece of ply, unless you contour it, which would be ridiculous. So do we attempt to do that, or do we just carpet straight onto this and live with a lumpy bumpy carpet? I'm not sure. How much will it bother me? Maybe a lot, maybe a little. Decisions. So this is the carpet we've gone for. We've chosen a nice light blue because our van is so yellow. I thought that would complement it fairly nicely. It's called 4-way stretch carpet, and the idea with that is as you're going over and around the van contours, you can pull it and stretch it and the finish is still the same despite having tucked it in and around corners. So this is standard stuff used for cars and van conversions, and it's quite durable, quite hard wiring, and will hopefully give not too terrible a finish on our bumpy walls. alright, mate? This is not what you were expecting. Shall I let you out? Thank you. So we've skipped a few days. This is the update on how the carpet's looking. Not too bad, and I think once the furniture's in place, you won't notice the lumps and bumps so much. Scott's been working hard putting up a front beam for the clothes cupboard here.
It's the perfect thing to smash your head on. That'll be a little cupboard at the foot of the bed for clothes.
We've started up at the front here, putting carpet on the odd-shaped bits here. Now, it doesn't look nice at the top, but there'll be a cupboard in the way of that. We've done the same on the other side, and we've carpeted up and around the door. Again, there were loads of bumps and dips to go around and wires to take into account there. So it looks a bit bumpy, but once we get cladding around, hopefully it'll look okay. Oh, and above the parcel shelf as well. We were wondering about putting ply up there, but we thought the carpet would just maximise the space in the cupboard. And also we kind of wanted that cupboard at the corner to continue in, so we could store larger things.
You never know what you might want to put in there.
Yeah, exactly. Today we're going to work on building this thing here. So this is going to be the housing for our separating toilet. So to kind of talk you through how that's going to work, Scott's showing us here, this is the separating unit. So it has two holes in it, a funnel at the front for urine and a big hole at the back for poop. Because we're separating out the solids from the liquids, that means that sewage isn't formed. And sewage is what causes the smell. So the toilet seat fits on top like that, and then we'll have a bucket at the back, and that catches and dries out the poo. And most people would fit a funnel there on the front to direct wee into a bucket to empty that. But we're going to do it a little bit different, just for convenience. So we decided that we wanted to plumb in the urine part to direct it to a tank under the van, which has a much larger storage capacity, and then we can more easily get rid of it down a sewage drain. So the problem being that a van moves a lot, the van with sharp braking, going around corners, the last thing we need is for liquid to come splashing back up into the toilet, because that would be disgusting. So what Scott has here is a thing called a P-trap. So it's got a one-way valve in, and that stops liquid flowing back up the pipe no matter which way we're driving in the van. So you can see inside there's like a rubber valve unit, so that prevents backflow of liquid. So we're going to have one of those installed just below the urine outlet. So we were convinced that this would stop the water flowing back, but Scott was not quite sure if it would stop smells coming up from the tank, which is another consideration when you're living in such a small space. He'd planned to put a typical plumbing S-bend below that. So this is the thing that you have under your kitchen sink. It traps a bit of water in it, and it stops smells flowing up from the sewage pipes. Again, the problem being because the van's in motion, the water sitting in that can splash back. So that's why we needed the valve trap to stop the water flowing back up. So the plan had been for one of those just under the toilet, followed by the S-bend, and then down into the tank. The one thing he hadn't considered was the actual space we have in the van, and liquid needs to flow downhill. So in the end, we haven't used the S-bend because there's just no room for it to keep water flowing down the way. So we've just got the P-trap, but I'm hoping that the valve on that in itself will help stop any smells coming back up as well. And if not, then we may have to rethink our design. So that was the basis of the plumbing. Now to get everything directed down into the waste pipe, we needed a lot of connections to take it from the diverter through the traps. So there's a lot of different sizes of pipes that we needed to use. Now the hole on the urine outflow was about 3 sizes smaller than the regular plumbing fittings. And the first thing we needed to do in order to attach it was to get a plug hole. So this is just a standard sink plug hole. So that screws on to the outlet there. And then we needed adapters to basically upsize this so that we could connect it to the pipes. So the plug hole needed to fit on, so we had to trim the diverter down because it was too long. It's not designed for that. And then we had to use, as Scott's showing you here, one adapter to upsize it there. And then also in his hand, the little white thing is a second size adapter to upsize it to actually fit on the push fit pipe. So that was the plan. We had to get all that kind of joined together and also in the tight space so that it fit in place and directed everything in the right direction. So the first thing we had to do was build the housing to hold the separator. So we've got a space here for it. So we're going to build a wooden box. And on the box we're going to have a lid that lifts up to reveal the toilet seat. And we need a hinge door in the side so we can get in to clean it and to empty the bucket and to just check the plumbing generally. So it's quite a simple design, but we do need to think carefully about how we're going to build it to make sure it's strong enough and that all the hinges move the right way. So that was the goal for today. Let's get going.
Aragog's lair.
Yeah, this guy's supposed to live inside the garage. He's not welcome on the outside. And here's Scott.
We're using some more 12mm ply. And we're just going to make a box.
That's pretty much it. Update on the toilet box situation. So we're going to have it higher at the back because we're going to have a lid on a lid. So there'll be the toilet seat and then there'll be a lid that comes down that you can sit on. So we've got three walls of the same height. But we've cut some wooden struts. So we're going to attach one this way and one going down the way.
Let me do a demo.
Scott will demonstrate. And the reason we're doing this in reinforcement on the side is when we attach this panel we're going to attach hinges there.
Yeah, this panel is not going to be structural.
Yeah.
This panel will be a door.
And that means we can get in to empty the poop bucket. We could do with one of those electric screwdrivers.
One of them confangled fancy electric screwdrivers.
Yeah, we're using the metal brackets here because it's just quite thin at the edge. We're just worried if we go through with the screws it might end up splitting. Maybe it wouldn't. We haven't actually tried. I'm not going to.
The gold little ones.
The gold looking ones, that's what I was thinking. Now we need to pinch it down the bottom.
And pinch the bottom.
It's about here. Reasonable?
That looks about right. Plenty.
This is how we do.
Yeah, it is.
I have a vested interest in this toilet. I'm a big fan of being able to use the toilet.
Will you be depositing investments?
So many people, you know, when they do the van tour, they're like, this toilet is just for emergencies, or I do not need a toilet in my van, and I'm
I
like,
think every pee is an emergency.
yeah.
Ah! Need to go!
Maybe in other countries there's loads. Well, I suppose like if you're way up in the Highlands of Scotland, like rural,
You can kind of go in a bush.
you can go in a bush, but there's so many areas where it's just so populated,
Yeah,
and
there must be toilets. I hope.
imagine if you need a wee in the night and you have to go outside in the cold, find a public toilet.
I can imagine that. It's not fun.
No, I can't imagine
I
that.
can imagine, but it's not fun.
One down. You didn't get the dustpan, did you?
No, I didn't.
You have one job.
No, my job was to get the screws.
Build a van, then get the dustpan. That's what I say.
Okay.
Build me a camper and bring the dustpan.
I'll do that next.
No, but that's so much easier without that damn board in the way. Right. Okay. Right.
That's pretty solid.
It's not going anywhere, that's for sure. Does this need attached to the floor here?
Yeah, we need to put a bracket in there somewhere.
It's fine, we can do that.
And
That's probably a good place for it.
stick this panel in here, just like that. Make sure that we get the spacing right.
I'm just blowing my nose.
That's one bracketto. More bracketos.
So now we have to make this into a door. Knock, knock. Says the poop. So that was how far we'd got with the toilet. When we went to put the side door on, we realised we didn't actually have the right hinges.
We also realised we didn't have quite the right plumbing either.
Yeah, so we came to a sticking point. We had to abandon that job, but don't worry, it picks up again soon. So in our next few videos, we'll move on to building out a bit more of the furniture.
And connecting up the plumbing.
And connecting up the plumbing, and it all comes together very soon, so stay tuned.